Greetings, welcome back to British Stand. Today we present a critical analysis of a recent debate surrounding illegal immigration. This discourse often features a participant whose liberal stance is articulated in complex terms, obscuring the clarity necessary for effective dialogue. Such individuals frequently find themselves outmatched by their opponents, resulting in an exchange that lacks substantive resolution. We encourage you to engage with this important discussion by liking and subscribing. Turning to the matter of asylum seekers, let us address your inquiry directly. Stripping away emotional rhetoric reveals that this issue fundamentally revolves around numbers. The significant influx of individuals risking their lives and those of their children by arriving in the UK via perilous routes from devastated regions. It is imperative to consider why there exists such a pronounced demand for entry into the UK. Has global stability improved under certain political administrations, or has it deteriorated? What circumstances in these nations compel individuals to undertake such dangerous journeys in search of safety? It raises an intriguing point if one claims personal experience with such journeys. Does that classify them as an illegal immigrant? This notion warrants further examination. However, it is crucial to recognize that France does not constitute a war zone. Rather, many are drawn to the UK primarily for economic opportunities. While seeking refuge from conflict is understandable, it must be acknowledged that France and other European nations do not fit this description. From a numerical perspective, the Illegal Immigration Act aims to enhance border control measures and enforce laws regarding repatriation of those entering illegally, though compliance with international law remains uncertain. Even if fully enacted, these measures may not effectively deter migration flows. The pressing question becomes how we manage those who arrive. What processes will determine their right to remain or necessity to depart? For over a decade, it has been evident that previous administrations have neglected migrant processing as a priority issue, often using it as a diversion when faced with challenges elsewhere. Notably, many migrants from regions like Afghanistan lack legal pathways for entry. By closing these avenues, they are effectively rendered illegal entrants. This presents a significant challenge both numerically and financially for the nation. Moreover, we face an emerging concern regarding demographic shifts. The ratio of retired citizens versus an increasingly limited workforce will become more pronounced within the next decade. However, advocating for increased acceptance of migrants via boat is not necessarily the solution. Rather, we must explore. In discussing migration issues realistically and proportionately, it is essential to consider refugees' perspectives from countries such as Afghanistan and Iran, where survival remains paramount over any perceived economic burden on taxpayers. Yet many assert that economic opportunities significantly influence their decision-making process regarding relocation to the UK. Public sentiment on this contentious issue appears divided. Some advocate for stricter immigration policies akin to Australia's model due to perceived leniency in current approaches. There are calls for decisive action against illegal entries based on statistics indicating low enforcement rates of returns. While consensus exists on the necessity of border control measures, current systems seem inadequate in addressing both migrant needs and taxpayer concerns alike. Refugees do not seek indefinite detention, but often find themselves trapped within such circumstances. Comparing the UK's situation with Australia's present challenges due to geographical realities. Unlike Australia's isolated positioning, the UK shares borders with multiple countries, facilitating easier access points for migrants attempting crossings from locations like France or Morocco. The ongoing debate highlights Britain's appeal rooted in fairness and opportunity. However, mismanagement exacerbates continued attempts by migrants seeking entry into UK territory. A reassessment of policy may be warranted. Regions such as Afghanistan and Syria starkly contrast Northern Europe, not only climatically, but also through lived experiences shaped by conflict. And individuals fleeing these areas pursue safety despite adverse weather conditions here. One might question why neighboring nations like Saudi Arabia have not assumed greater responsibility for refugee resettlement, given historical ties stemming from British involvement in these regions over time. This argument tends toward dismissing economic motivations entirely while emphasizing historical connections. a perspective worth scrutinizing given its presentation context and credibility concerns inherent within media discussions where compensation may influence viewpoint sharing. We invite your reflections on this complex matter. Please share your thoughts below. If you found this analysis valuable, consider liking and subscribing for further insights into pressing issues facing our society today. Until next time, take care.